Hey guys, it's Jan Sharte and I'm back again with another video. So today's video is going to be super cool because I am going to address some comments and topics that were requested that I talk about in a class, and I just thought I think it would be better if I just make it a YouTube video. So today's video is going to be about data, analytics, finances, and a bunch of other things wrapped up in it. I'm actually going to read the actual question or comment that was left on my page about this topic, and then we'll get all into all the good stuff, okay? So if you guys are interested, stay tuned. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel where we talk about boutiques, e-commerce, business, and all things making money online. Okay, so first and foremost, if you're not following me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me, girl, because I be talking about the things. I be going live. I don't gatekeep. I answer all the questions, so you definitely should be following me, number one. Number two, I want to read you guys the question that was asked under this post. So I had put up a reel and I asked for them to comment one topic that they would like me to host a free class about. And like I said, I just thought I would just make it a video. So this specific person said time management. That was the initial comment that she left. And then she said, so how are you breaking down your quarterly goals down to your monthly schedule, down to your weekly in regards to your schedule? When are you scheduling reviews of your content for data? What are you looking for when you review them? Same for when are you scheduling your content creation, editing, scheduling on your social media scheduler, email, text. How far are you planning content ahead? How often are you reviewing finances, etc.? Full circle time management. It's a very loaded question, right? And I was like, I don't even know how I can host. This would be like 4 different classes. So I am going to attempt to tackle every single one of these. And I think it honestly starts with number one, having very, very clear goals. This is for everybody, not just her. I don't know her personally, so this is for everyone. It really starts with having clear goals. Number one in my business is that I am always extremely clear about what I want to accomplish, and that ultimately dictates every action that I take, from time management, which I'm not the greatest with if I'm being honest, my marketing, my data analysis, my financial reviews, all of that. It all goes back to my goal. I have to ask myself, okay, well, this is what you wanted to accomplish. This is what you've accomplished thus far. What's stopping you from accomplishing everything else that you need to accomplish? What's working, what's not? And then I use all of that to make better decisions. That's number one, okay? So I'll start with finances, because obviously we started these businesses to make money, but these businesses are expensive. They cost money, and as they grow, they cost way more money, right? So I have an accountant. By the grace of God, I had enough smarts to go and hire one of those when it was feasible for me to do so. But even before that, I had a QuickBooks account where I was keeping track of all of my spending, and that way I wasn't being completely oblivious, or I wasn't completely blind to what was happening in my business from a financial perspective. So I honestly look at my numbers, like my website analytics, every single day. Every day. I don't have a specific time of the day or anything like that, but I look at them every single day. I meet with my accountant every 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks we go through my financials. So we look at my sales, we look at my cost of goods, which is how much money I've spent on the merchandise that I'm selling, as well as the shipping. And then we look at my expenses to make sure that, number one, am I covering my expenses? Am I running a profitable business? Am I making smart decisions with my money? Do I need to pull back? Do I need to, make more money? Am I on track to make my goals? So on and so forth. So I do this every 2 weeks, and I really enjoy that it's every 2 weeks, because it gives me time to clean up my mess when it is a mess, because let me be honest, it's a mess. Sometimes I've overspent. Sometimes I haven't spent enough money to be able to meet my goals. So every 2 weeks is what I would recommend for looking at your financials. But I think the most important part is being able to read your financials. So the most important thing in my financials is my profit and loss statement. This is also called your income statement. So it should have a section for your sales, how much money you've made. It should then have a section for your cost of goods, how much money you spent on the merchandise that you sell. You subtract the amount of money that you made minus the amount of money that you spent on your cost of goods. That's going to tell you your gross profit. Most people get very confused because they think that their business is profitable because they're only looking at their gross profit. They know how much money they spent on inventory. They have no idea how much they have spent on expenses. So most times we're looking at our gross profit, but we need to calculate our net profit. So net profit is going to get calculated after you take out your expenses. So Shopify, Klaviyo, ads, contractors, anything that you pay for on a monthly basis in your business is an expense. And ultimately that total number gets subtracted from your gross profit to tell you your net profit. There are way more people in this world, way more business owners in this world who are in the negative than in the positive because they're not accounting for their actual expenses in their business. So that's a big one. And I have a little bit more to talk about with the financial aspects, which will lead into everything else. Okay, so the thing that helped me most when it came to like understanding my finances and really understanding like how much money I needed to make every single day in my business at a minimum was being able to see what my total operating expenses are in my business and then dividing that number by 30 days. So currently in this current season, it's currently October 2023. My total my total expenses when calculated down to the day, so divided by 30 days, is $313. So that's how much money I'm spending on expenses without a doubt every single day. Now, most important thing you want to know with expenses is that you have two types of expenses. You have fixed expenses, you have variable expenses. Fixed expenses are expenses that are the same every single month. So like the amount that you pay, I have rent, that amount is the same every month. My internet at my office is the same every month. Contractors, some of them have a set fee, some of them are paid hourly. What else? My accountant set. But like Facebook ads, that's not set in stone. I can change it, it fluctuates. So that's considered a variable expense. So variable expense is one you can control, one you can change. The fixed expense is one that's set in stone. It's gonna be the same every month. So $313 is how much money I need to make every single day without a doubt in order to simply cover my expenses. So remember, we got sales, then growth, then cost of goods, which is gonna tell us our gross profit, but then I gotta subtract my expenses, which is gonna tell me what my net profit is. So let's say, for example, that I look at my sales for the day, and this is what most people do. They typically look at their sales for the day, and Shopify says you made $700, right? Random number. You made $700. But then let's say that your cost of goods for the inventory that you sold was $300. So $700 made divided by $300 in cost of goods leaves me with $400 in gross profit. Then I have to subtract my $313 in operating expenses per day from my $400 in gross profit. And guess what that means? I'm actually not that profitable. I'm profitable, but I ain't that profitable. I went from having $700 in sales to actually only having about $100 in, actually less than $100. What would that be? 70, 80, $87. $87 in actual net profit. Most people have no idea that that is the case in their business, and that is what is hurting them. So again, I go back to look at your expenses at least every 2 weeks so that you can have an accurate idea of what's happening in your business, not just from a sales perspective, but more importantly from a profit perspective. So now let's talk about time management. So I believe that proper time management comes from knowing what's going to make the most impact in your business so that you know where to spend the most time, or even more importantly, like what to prioritize and what can wait. So for example, in my business, I know where the most money is going to come from. So like email marketing, text marketing, and then content creation to actually infuse into that plays a huge role in my ability to make the money that I want to make. So I find that there are so many people who, number one, their content's not making that much of an impact right now, and they spend so much time on content creation. And they might think, oh, well, content's not making an impact. That means that I need to spend time working on content creation. But in actuality, it might be that you need to spend more time doing market research to better understand your target audience so that you can create better content in your business. So second to knowing like what to prioritize is also you doing it enough times to know how long it takes you on average to complete the thing. I think it's important to set a like average number of something that you want to complete for a certain span of time. So for example, you might say, You know, I don't think I can complete 30 days worth of content in a day, but I do think I can complete 2 weeks worth of content in a day or in a couple days or whatever. Again, I think it comes from doing it first though, to see how much time it takes you to complete, you know, 5 posts, 10 posts, 15 posts, so on and so forth. And then also setting goals for like how many times you want to post, how many times you want to send an email every week, how many times you want to send a text, run ads, so on and so forth. So time management, I don't think it's one of those things that I can necessarily say like, oh, this is how you can absolutely be better with your time, because I really think everybody's business is different. Everybody's priorities are different. So you have to first and foremost understand like what your priorities are, and then actually do the things to understand how much time it takes you, how much effort it takes you. And if I'm being honest, like some people just need to have an honest moment with themselves and say, okay, I can't do this. Like, I'm not qualified. I don't know how to do it. I keep doing it wrong. I keep messing it up. The quality sucks. And I know that it's impacting me in the worst way possible. So I kind of need some help. I need to hire some people or hire somebody to teach me how to do it or whatever the case may be. So when it comes to time management, again, priorities, important. Doing it enough times to actually like track your time. Like just like you would do in a job. Somebody might hire you to do something and say, you know, we're gonna give you 30 minutes to get this done. All right, I got 30 minutes to do it. But when you start a business, you don't know how long it's gonna take you until you've done it enough times to know that's how long it's gonna take you, right? So let me go back to this comment, because I wanna make sure I touch on all the things. So breaking down my quarterly goals down to my monthly schedule, to my weekly in regards to my schedule. So when I set my goals for the year, that's a bar. Not that much of a bar, but a bar. I set goals for the year, number one. Then I break them down to the quarters. But I don't break it down evenly across the quarters. My goals are set based off of historical data. So I look at my sales year over year, and I look to see what percentage of my sales typically comes from each month of the year. So for example, only 2% of my sales might come from January, 4% from February, 3% from March, 7% from April. But then we get into Q4, it's like 15% from October, 27% from November, and these are just random numbers, but like it gets bigger as we get to Q4. So when I understand how much of the money that I'm trying to make is gonna come from these individual areas of, or individual stages of time in the year, then I also get to start thinking about like how much work and effort it's going to take to be able to make those things. I also get to look at what happened in the previous year to use that as a basis of decision making versus me just starting from scratch every single year. So that's number one. I set yearly goals. I look at how much of my, so let's say for example, last year, I don't know how much I made. Let's say I made $250,000. Last year I made $250,000. This year I want to make $350,000. The first thing that I'm going to do is go back and look at the previous year and calculate what percentage of my sales came from each of those individual months in the year, what percentage of my total sales came from each quarter, and I'm usually going to utilize that in my planning for the upcoming year. So sidebar, if you need help with this, we do quarterly planning inside of my monthly membership every single quarter. All of the replays are inside of there, so if you want to see what it looks like to plan from the beginning of the year all the way up into Q4, highly recommend that you take advantage of the free trial in the description box, because it will help you out a ton. All right, so planning is key, but you can't plan if you don't have proper goals set, which was what I said at the very beginning of this video. So set some goals, my friend. Okay, so now let's touch on like content creation, content scheduling. So I tend to schedule specific dates, not necessarily like every single month it's the same date, but like I schedule when my photo shoots, video shoots, all of those things are gonna occur. I try to make sure that I get them back in a timely fashion. I find that that ends up being a tricky part for me, because if I can't guarantee that my photographer or videographer is gonna get that content back to me on time, then they mess me up and it drives me nuts. So as long as I get it back by when they say that I'm gonna get it back by, then I know when I can actually start creating the content. So there are so many people who confuse a photo shoot or a video shoot with content creation. It's an element of your content creation, but that is not the actual content itself. Content, like the word or the system of content, actually takes into consideration like what does it need to look like from a marketing perspective. So a picture alone isn't necessarily marketing. So now I'm taking all these pictures and videos and things like that, and I'm plugging it into my marketing strategy, into my content strategy. So my content strategy might be like, you know, we want all of our content to include messaging this month that has like a quote that speaks directly to moms or directly to, let's say it's like back to school time. I might say our content strategy is not only to showcase our models wearing the clothes, but wearing the clothes with like a backpack, or they're holding like, you know, some textbooks or something like that. And we're going to include messaging that talks about the importance of school. And we're going to include messaging that talks about like your first year of college. And like, we're going to include tips for navigating your first semester of college or whatever the case may be. So content creation is a step beyond photography and videography and things of that nature, because now you're considering the messaging, the tone, the feeling that you want people to have when they interact with that content. So once I have the pictures and videos and things like that from my videographer and my photographer, then I can like, you know, go into Canva and all those little apps and things like that and start editing, adding text, adding messaging and all those good things. Then I can actually, I was gonna say then I could start like looking for sounds and all that stuff. But typically like throughout the months, I'm just collecting sounds. Like I don't necessarily go looking for trending sounds on a regular basis. I just collect them over time and like stockpile them so that when it's time to actually start posting content or scheduling the content, I don't have to go in search of, because I already have compiled a library of sounds that I want to include. I also personally am like really good with like music selection. I'm a music girly. So I have like playlists in my phone literally labeled by like my business's names. Like there's a Brazen, there's a Melrose Blue, there's a Boutique Academy. And for like all different occasions, like I had a conference playlist. When I launched Melrose, I had a playlist for that. Like I create playlists so that, you know, let's say if I'm handing off some videography or some video editing to my videographer, I can say these are the songs I want to use. So I have good forethought, I would say. I'm pretty like planned ahead when it comes to content. So I am stockpiling trending sounds. I am always creating playlists of sounds that I would like to use in future content so that when it's time to start scheduling and all those things, I can get that done. So I tend to have at least one photo shoot per month. And I currently shoot video mostly every week. However, I skip a week here and there because I just be tired or I'm traveling or things like that. But video is something that I'm constantly doing because video is king these days. So y'all know they say content is king, but video within content, video content is actually king right now. So I prioritize video creation over pretty much everything else in my business currently. Okay, and then so as far as email marketing, text marketing, things of that nature, and I'm also throwing in updating your website. That wasn't part of the question, but this is an element of me doing email, text, things of that nature. When you get your pictures, actually let's go back to when you're taking your pictures and videos and things like that, you have to remember that this content is not just for social media and it's not just pictures for your product pages. You have to remember that you have a website homepage that needs updated. So I am selecting which pictures are going to be used for banners throughout the month. I'm thinking about what the messaging is going to be on those banners, what the calls to action are going to be on those banners. I am thinking, and this is like when I'm at the photo shoot, because I need to be able to communicate to the photographer, like this is going to be a picture for my banner, so he knows that it needs to be taken, what would this be, horizontal versus taking all of my pictures vertical. I need to be able to communicate to him that like I'm going to put some text off to the right or off to the left so that he knows how to take the picture and how to like compose it, you know, or how to situate the model in the picture and things like that. So you got to remember that you're going to need content for your website, banners for the like collection banners and things like that, but you also need content that's going to be specifically for those emails. If you're going to be using like pictures and GIFs and things like that in your text, you got to remember that. So I try to always remember that if I don't think about the emails when I'm creating the content, then I'm likely not going to send the number of emails that I could send in a month because I wasn't prepared to be able to do that. I see that a lot of people make the mistake of just literally putting a random picture from their photo shoot into their emails, and their emails come off as extremely boring because they're not actually taking into consideration what email marketing is. They're not even studying the emails that come into their inbox. So that's another thing that I do. I basically create folders of emails that I have opened over the course of time, and I use them as inspiration as I am planning the photos or taking the photos, and then also creating the content that's going to go in my email. So I don't start working on emails and things like that until I have a very clear idea of what's being promoted, what content's going to be going into each of them, what the schedule of like product releases are going to be, what the schedule of like promotions and things like that are going to be in the month. So I'm a planner. If you've been following me for some time, y'all know I'm a planner. Sidebar, shameless plug, we have a planner at the Boutique Academy. I will link the link for that in the description if you want to grab yourself one. I created a planner because I'm a planner. I love a plan. I love a planner. So grab you one. But yeah, all of this long question here, long request, it really starts with having a goal and having a clear picture of what direction you're going in. Like if I had to say, you know, what makes the biggest difference in business, it really is you having a goal and knowing where you're trying to get at the end of the day. So many people neglect the importance of setting a goal, and my audience laughs at me because every month they know I start the month with asking them what's the goal, and nobody ever, not nobody, but most people don't have a goal, and that's why they find themselves constantly stuck and not really knowing what direction to go in or what to focus on in their business. If you are clear about the goal, then that helps you to start to plan all the other areas of your business, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm enjoying these little chit chats. I will probably come back and answer another question from my comments. And yeah, so before we go, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I love to give you some feedback if you would like some. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.